All right. Hello again, everyone. My name is Maria Clevis, and I am the Senior Business Development Manager here for NIC Services. You can see the rest of the team names there on the right side of the screen: Jenna Coates, Michelle O'Reilly, and then the president of our company, Mukesh Patel. Today we're going to be talking about accepting EMV payments in government offices. This is the first of our 2017 webinar series. So at the end, please do take note of our next webinar and log into Facebook and check us out and sign up for all of our other webinars to come. So today, like I said, we're going to be talking about EMV payments in government agencies. And we're going to go through just what is EMV and then the transaction flow of EMV. We're going to go through some general terms and definitions just associated with payment processing in general, EMV and chip cards. We're going to talk about what agencies, what you guys need to think about in getting started in making that transition to accepting EMV payments within your agencies. And then we're also going to talk about some market updates associated with the EMV and payment processing. Today we're going to look at the Visa Quick Chip and then also the forecasted U.S. adoption for EMV payment processing. So let's get started. What is EMV? EMV is a fancy name to identify the credit and debit cards with embedded microchip technology. I'm sure you all have seen what these cards look like. I have one actually sitting right next to me. It has that little chip on the front. Also does still have that magnetic strip on the back. But this chip technology is new to the U.S., but it's used in other countries to greatly reduce the ability to engineer fraudulent cards by allowing two-way communication between the financial institution and the merchant requesting payment. And we'll talk a little bit more about two-way communication in a moment. So chip, like I said, that chip now accompanies the magnetic strip on the back of those credit and debit cards. It will eventually replace that magnetic strip. However, that complete transition will take time, and it will not happen overnight. So we still have a few years of both the chip and the magnetic strip. Why EMV? So although the EMV chip cards are new to the United States, like I said, they have been used in other countries for a while, and the benefits of this technology are just too significant to overlook. So when we think about the benefits of this technology, I think that we all probably instantly go to eliminating fraud or fraudulent charges on our cards. And in thinking that, I found this statistic, that the U.S. accounts for 25% of the world's payment card transactions, but accounts for more than 50% of all fraudulent card transactions. So that's kind of a staggering statistic. Losses due to these card fraud topped $10 billion in 2015 and represents 10 cents out of every $100 transacted. So since the inception of EMV usage in the United States, which hasn't been very long, the research does show that the counterfeit fraud has been declining, 52% at chip-embedded merchants and 14% across all merchants. So what this shows is that just the presence of the chip is actually having a significant impact on the decline of fraudulent charges, showing to where that is even declining in the merchants that aren't yet accepting EMV. Two-way communication. Two-way communication is a benefit of utilizing a chip card at an EMV terminal. Well, how does it work? It's about a five-step process. First, purchase. The user inserts the chip card into the terminal. The authorization or pre-authorization. This is the first point of communication as an online message and real-time connection are created. Status check. The issuer determines whether the card is authentic. Account verification. The issuer determines whether the card is linked to a valid bank account and funds are available. And finally, sale completion. The final communication in the process where the sale amount is confirmed with the authorized amount. This is how that two-way communication works. We're going to talk, like I said, give a few general definitions for some terms. You probably are very familiar with some of these definitions. Some of them maybe not as much, but they're all important when talking about EMV as well as just payment processing in general. So the magnetic strip or the mag stripe, that's that stripe on the back of the card. We use it kind of as shorthand to refer to a type of card capable of storing data and modifying the magnetism of tiny iron-based magnetic particles on a band of magnetic material on the card. Again, a lot easier to say mag stripe than that whole big definition. Dip or card dipping, the insertion of a credit or debit card into a reader in an ATM or an EMV point of sale. So this is the actual act of inserting that card. They call it card dipping. Chip card or chip. This is kind of the EMV version of the mag stripe. It's the shorthand for a credit or debit card with an embedded dual interface chip allowing card readers to obtain the card's identifying information through the use of a single chip. PIN. We're probably all familiar with a PIN number, but a PIN is an identifying number allocated to an individual by a bank or other organization and used for validating electronic transactions. Merchant of record. This one we will talk a little bit more when we talk about the things you need to decide and determine in taking your first steps to accepting EMV. But the merchant of record is the organization that is held financially liable by the acquiring bank. And this becomes important because that liability for fraudulent charges is now shifted to the merchant of record with EMV transactions. So this is an important thing to note and will become an important decision. Like I said, we'll talk a bit more about that in a few slides. Touch payment or contactless payment. This is just the credit or debit cards, key fobs, smart cards, or other hardware that supports high-value purchases if the contactless authentication method is biometric. So examples, Apple Touch ID or used in the Apple Pay. So I have Apple Pay on my phone. Some of us do. I actually don't use it all that often, but this is important to know as it is becoming more prevalent across a lot of merchants. So getting started. The first thing you need to do is understanding your options, and this is where the merchant of record and that liability shift comes back into play. So the first thing you need to do is determine how to proceed with the transition to EMV payment processing within your agency. And that first question you ask your agency is, do you want to act as a merchant of record, or do you want to partner with a company such as NIC who acts as a merchant of record? Each option does come with pros and cons such as fraud, liability management, cost effectiveness, PCI compliance, and other things. So this is a question that you want to take the time in thinking about and determining which route you want to go. Once you have made the decision of who will be maintaining that compliance and managing the financial piece of the payments process, you can begin to review devices available for actually processing those transactions. Here at NIC, we use a third-party processor, First Data, with their, excuse me, I just got a quick little tickle in my throat, with their FD40 device for EMV payments. Other devices are available from other vendors. However, the software you choose may not be compatible with every device on the market. So again, this is something that you do want to take the time to think about this decision and how this fits in with whether or not you want to be the merchant of record. So we're into those market updates. I've kept this PowerPoint in this webinar very, very brief. I don't want to waste too much of your time today. I just want to give you brief high-level information regarding EMV. And then, like I said, I did set some time aside for some questions at the end. So into the market updates, we're going to talk about the Visa Quick Chip. So the Quick Chip is an enhancement to the EMV chip card processing that speeds up checkout times and simplifies implementation. Visa pioneered this Quick Chip for U.S. store owners to gain all of the security benefits and liability protections of EMV while keeping their customer lines moving quickly. The average time a card is in the terminal is 13 seconds. And 13 seconds doesn't seem like a significant amount of time, but it really is if you think about it. And the quick chip has reduced this time down to 2.5 seconds. So that's a big difference. It's eliminated the impact of EMV on that checkout process, creating a 13% faster experience. So we want to know, how does it do this? Well, the quick chip, how does it make it so faster? And in order to determine how it makes it so faster, we have to talk about pre-dip. But in order to understand pre-dip, we have to talk about pre-swipe. So if you think about going to any merchant today and you have your items that you are ready to pay for, you go up and the cashier is scanning your items. And as they're scanning your items, you swipe your card, you put it in your wallet, and you wait for the cashier to be done. This is what the pre-swipe is. Pre-swipe allows the shopper or the user to swipe their MagnaStripe card anytime during checkout, so your transaction or your total doesn't have to be on the screen. And 40% of customers use this pre-swipe. And because of that, we're so used to that quick swipe through and then finalizing your transaction. Well, with EMV, the traditional EMV requires customers to leave their card in the reader until all items have been scanned. So this is where that 13 seconds comes into play, because not only do you have to insert your card at the beginning, you wait for all of your items to be scanned, and then you have that 13 seconds of waiting for authorization. And that is what takes so long. So what the pre-dip does, the quick chip supports a pre-dip experience that's very similar to the swipe. So what that means is that the customer can insert their card and pull their card out prior to the entire transaction being completed, or to all of their items being scanned. 36% of customers pre-dip where the quick chip has been deployed. So this is important. I found this very interesting. I will say that I personally have noticed a significant time increase in using chip over magnetic stripe. So this is something that not only kind of excites us over here on a professional level, but as well on a personal level. I think all of us as customers can appreciate getting in and out of the store quickly. Finally, I just want to put up this graph showing the forecasted U.S. adoption for EMV. You can see here in the year 2017 that it is 73% volume expected to be chip transactions, and 95% of cards expected to be chip compliant. And you will see that that gap is just slowly going to decrease until 2021, where 100% are expected to be chip transactions and 100% of cards are expected to be chip compliant. So like I said, that transition is not going to be overnight, but it is going. We are moving in that direction. So look at that. Right at about 15 minutes, like I said. Didn't want to take up too much of your time today. Just wanted to give you some EMV information. So if you have any questions, I'm going to, you can go ahead and send them to me via chat, or I will unmute the line and you can ask your questions now. All right, well, not hearing any questions. Please do take note of our next webinar in our 2017 series, which will be Wednesday, April 26th, and we will be talking about online payment processing within government agencies. Also, please check us out on LinkedIn and Facebook and sign up and get pre-registered for all of our webinars this year. Again, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you learned something today, and I hope to talk to you again in the future. Thanks so much.